All right, today we're going to talk about astronomy cameras or astrophotography cameras. So this one, a DSO, a planetary camera, another planetary camera that also doubles as a guide camera. We're going to talk about all these differences, including the sensor sizes. I don't know if you can see those in there, and why that matters. So the first camera that we're going to look at is this, which is the ASI 120 Mini. And this is specifically for being used as a guide camera. It would qualify as a planetary camera as it has a small sensor. It's mono. Mono cameras are more sensitive because of the Bayer pattern. They have less pixels to go through in different colors. So it's just seeing light in any form and all pixels. It's getting a little bit down the rabbit hole, but mono is more sensitive to light. So it makes a better guide camera, can see fainter stars. Now the guide scope that it's on, the focal length on that's only 130 millimeters. So now we're going to look at what that looks like. So we have the camera aimed at the gutter that we just discussed. And in this image, the light pole is kind of in the way, but the tip of the gutter is right here, and that's kind of the general target for all of the other cameras. So we see our field of view at 130 millimeters with the sensor size that's in the 120 and is the same sensor size that's in the next camera, but we're going to step up the focal length. The next camera will be this GP3 224, and same sensor size, just a little bit faster. This one's actually color, but the only difference other than the color and being a little faster, the field of view is going to be reduced because now our guide scope is 240 millimeters in length. So let's go see what that looks like. So our point of reference, this is the one we just saw before, the 120. Now we're going to change over to the 244 or 224, sorry. And you can see, first of all, it's color. And second of all, it has quote unquote zoomed in more. And that is simply the focal length of that scope that made that difference. Now we're still in planetary cameras, but the next camera we're going to be looking at is the ZWO-585 right here. And its sensor size is much larger than the other two. Well, not much larger, it's about 3 times larger, but it's on a much longer focal length telescope. We're at 1200 millimeters, so let's go see what that looks like. So this is, again, the previous camera, the 224, at 244 millimeters, and now the sensor size is going to be a little bit bigger, and the focal length much longer, so you're going to see that we're actually going to zoom in quite a bit. Again, quote unquote zoom in. So let's go to the 585, and now we're much closer to that gutter. All right, next up, we're going to look at our deep sky object camera. This is an ASI 2600 MM. The MM stands for mono. If it was MC, it would be color. This one does have a filter wheel. The different filters, RGB, red, green, blue, so that you can composite them together and make a full color image, or you can use narrowband and kind of get the Hubble effect, or the Hubble palette they call it, and get different information out of the nebulas and stuff you're taking a photo of. Now the focal length on this telescope is 430 millimeters, so it's a very short focal length, and we have a much larger sensor size on this camera. So you're going to see that we really step back that apparent zoom effect with this camera. So let's take a look. All right, so again, we have the previous view that we were looking at with the 1200 millimeter focal length and the 585 camera. So now we're going to go to the 2600, and we're aimed over there in that same area. And we're taking quite a step back. So much wider field of view, and this is great for large objects in the sky. So Orion's Nebula would be a great example, or the Andromeda Galaxy M31. All right, so in summary, just kind of talking about the cameras, remember it's really more a combination of the focal length of the telescope and the sensor size of the camera. The bigger the sensor size, the wider your field of view is going to be, and the longer the focal length, the more zoomed in you're going to be to the subject. So The only way, once you get this thing into focus, that you can change the focal plane and zoom into something is to add something into the optics, like this Barlow. And they do kind of have some of their own side effects and everything. They might reduce the light that's being transmitted in, so they're going to increase the amount of time that you have to take a photo of like a deep sky object, like a galaxy or something. It would increase that time that it takes to capture that photo because they reduce that signal or that the amount of light coming to the sensor. So really, as far as whenever you think about using a camera that has lenses that are capable of moving and changing the focal length of the lens that it's shooting through, um, telescopes really aren't going to work like that. They don't have a physical feature other than focus, and once you get it in focus, that focal plane won't change. So if you are thinking about zooming in the sense that we use a camera, you can crop in to something, but as you crop into an object on your photo, you're going to start losing detail because you're zooming into the individual pixels closer and closer. So kind of something to keep in mind. And I have a great website for y'all to check out, and you can put your focal length in there. Then you will select a list of cameras, or you can even add some of the sensor information that you can find by most of the manufacturers. Most of the major manufacturers are going to actually have that stuff already inside the program. It's Astronomy Tools, and I'll show a link and show a little preview of it. But it'll actually give you once you pick those things, you pick a deep sky object or a planet, and it'll actually give you a frame of what that would look like when you take a picture of it. So, very powerful tool in helping you pick a new camera. If you are picking a new camera and you're not sure that you just want to go all in and pursue this hobby, I would recommend a planetary camera with a slightly large sensor like this ZWO 585 in color or MC. Because you just kind of get nice results and it's kind of a good mix. You can still take beautiful photos of deep sky objects with it, and if you need to, you can still do planetary. So it's kind of a happy medium between everything. Anyway, that's it. Hope this video helps. Don't forget to subscribe.